We're on our way to the next episode of Real Talk. We took it to the road this time. We're in Alabama, in the middle of a hurricane! Just wanted to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor for this episode, Goldfinch Title. Thank you so much. Goldfinch Title is backed by Trident Abstract out of Wall Township, New Jersey, and they are a leader in their industry. Trident has been in business since 1976. At Goldfinch, they have specialized teams ready to respond with solutions tailored to your needs, whatever they may be. This ensures that you receive maximum responsiveness, cost effectiveness, and efficiency. In partnering with their growing network of offices around the globe, they have the flexibility to service national and multinational customers. Communication is key, and from the moment your offer is accepted, Goldfinch representatives will walk you through every single step of the process. Goldfinch has been vetted by most major banks and lenders, and they offer full settlement services, making the process with them simple and completely cohesive. Call 732-547-2242 today to get your quote or to learn more about the company. They look forward to servicing all of your title needs. Let's get into the podcast. What's going on, everybody? It's Mike Greco with Real Talk, the #1 real estate podcast in New Jersey. And today I have a very, very, very special guest, Ricky Carruth. We came all the way to Alabama for this interview, and it's a pleasure to sit with you finally and get to do this podcast. So how you doing? How's life? How's business?
Good, man. Good. I can't believe you guys came all the way down here from New Jersey, but I like that, man. The #1 real estate podcast in New Jersey.
We're making that
I'm
claim.
sure there's a lot of podcasts in New Jersey.
I have no idea how many there are, but we're making the claim until it just becomes reality, hopefully. Speaking into existence.
I hear you.
But yeah, we wanted to get you on here because you're obviously, very heavily involved on social media and real estate, and you have a lot of insightful content, insightful information, and a lot of knowledge on the market. So we thought it'd be great to, come down here and get to talk to you.
No, I'm glad you did. It was surprising. It was surprising.
Yeah, we pulled through. So recently I saw you just got a Tesla. How do you like that car now?
I
Game
ordered
changer?
it last night, actually. Me and my wife flew to Atlanta because that's the closest place there is to test drive one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So we had to fly there. We flew there and back Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Test drove one, a Model S, and flew back. So we hung out there for a couple hours and stuff and came back.
Nice.
So the biggest thing was when you let off the gas, the car literally stops. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't expecting that. So
it stops instantly, very abruptly?
Pretty much. I mean, it literally, I didn't touch the brakes one time.
Really?
Have you never drove?
No,
a
I've never
Tesla?
driven one before.
That was the biggest difference. I wasn't expecting that. So
yeah.
We're riding around town, downtown Atlanta. I never touched the brakes once. Stop signs, red lights, people walking across the street and stuff. And so when you're not used to it, you're used to letting off the gas, coasting a little bit, hitting the brakes. You're not used to it. You kind of let off the gas a little too early because you think you're going to coast, and all of a sudden you stop.
Right.
And so it kind of jerks you forward.
Right.
And then it's time to go, so you hit the gas. You're not used to the power, and it kind of jerks you back this way.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of rocking back and forth the whole time while we're around
that's
town.
interesting.
And then I punched it a couple times, not knowing the power, so that it put you back in your seat. So by the time we got out of there, we were like seasick.
Yeah.
We were like, didn't feel that great. I don't know if I like this car. You know what I mean?
It's like a learning curve a little bit.
It was. But, after about 24 hours, I got to thinking about it. I was like, I think I can get used to it. Because the last time when we got right before we got back to the dealership, I wanted to see really how much power it had.
Yeah.
So I punched it really hard. and,
That thing goes.
and me
I've
and my
heard.
wife, we didn't talk for like 5 minutes. Like there was 0 words because we were that freaked out by the power. It was insane.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it.
And they shipped it pretty quick, I guess.
No, I don't have it.
Oh, you don't have it
No,
yet?
no, I ordered it.
Oh.
Yeah, I ordered it. Yeah. And actually it was kind of quick because they've already told me I have a VIN number that's assigned to me, asked me if I want to pick it up in person or deliver. So I think they're already, I think it's going to get here pretty quick. So
Nice.
no, I don't have it yet. Literally last night I hit send or submitted to buy it. And,
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
awesome. I'm surprised Georgia's the closest location.
It is.
That's
Yeah,
surprising.
It was crazy.
I would
It
think
was
Florida,
crazy.
maybe.
I told myself that I was going to get a Tesla when I got to a certain point with my coaching business.
Okay.
And I'm way past that point.
Yeah.
I even when I got to the point where I told myself I was going to, treat myself and kind of give myself a little celebration gift kind of deal.
Yeah.
I still didn't do it at that point. I'm probably like a year past that.
That's
that
awesome.
point that I actually told myself I was going to get one, but I'm also getting one that's a lot more expensive than I thought I was going to give myself too. So
Right. So how's the coaching program going? How many students do you have right now?
right now we're up to 33,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Worldwide, all over the place. I have a really big following in all these other countries and stuff. Like I have a big following in Brazil,
Really?
South Africa, Nigeria. I have some agents in Italy, of course, tons in Canada, not just the U.S. So it's really interesting how far, the reach of the internet is and how, I didn't go out and say, oh, I want to coach agents all over the world. These people just find you,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, and they start following along. And it's stuff that applies to everybody,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, relationships are universal. You know what I mean? And so that's the main thing about my coaching program. And it's like people just want to know you care about them. They don't care. It doesn't matter what country you're in or what industry you're in. People
Right.
just want to know that the person that they're doing business with cares about them, and the level that they care about them dictates how much they trust you and want to do business with you,
Right.
To me, it's universal across all platforms, industries, countries.
Right. Everybody can understand that.
I think that what I do is kind of translates into every types of sales, not even sales, just every types of business and life, and you know what I mean?
Right. Because it's
So,
relationships.
I think it's just a matter of time before my stuff goes a little more mainstream. Like I'm so concentrated
yeah.
on just agents right now because that's the industry I'm in and that's who I really want to help.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of time before I organically move into all these other industries,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
really kind of
definitely.
go more mainstream. And that's when you're going to see my following really explode.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
When I start hitting those kind of things. But I'm not forcing it. I'm just taking my time, continuing to post the content and just try to, not worry about views and followers and all these other things and likes and shares and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just continuing to put out the consistent, original content that I feel like is going to help people.
Providing value. And
Yeah. And then just let whatever happens. I can only be the best me I can be,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Well, the reason I brought up Tesla, I wanted to tie into that a little bit, is that I feel like the way that you market yourself, your coaching, and, you as a realtor as a whole is similar to Tesla's way of marketing, because I don't see any commercials for Tesla. I don't see any advertisements. I don't get YouTube ads for it or anything. But it's value provided and people are talking about it. And it's referral based in a way. You hear your friend has a Tesla. So many people have heard great things about Tesla, but they do little to no advertising besides their keynotes,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's similar to what you do with your coaching programs and getting referrals from agents around the country. It's very relationship based and referral based. So I saw a little bit of a link there between those two things.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I was listening to your podcast, and I think you had said on a recent episode that you have not done a cold call in over 10 years.
4 years. Since
4 years.
3 years. It's 2017, the beginning of 2017.
Okay.
I literally, up to that point, I made 100,000 cold calls. And I was still pushing, trying to build my business. And when you get your business up to a certain point, and and you're making the kind of money, once if you continue to build in terms of new prospects coming into your sphere, that's building your business. When you're just living off your sphere, past clients and referrals, that's just maintaining your business. If you build it up to 100,000 and then you quit trying to build, you just maintain with the past clients and referrals, you just make 100,000 forever.
Right.
You get up to 250, you really push, you get up to 250, you just come back and just relax on your database and your past clients referrals, you're going to stay at 250.
Right. Consistent.
Even though you're doing new business with new referrals that never knew you, they're coming in from people that do know you. They told them about you. They come in. That's still new business, but there's no exponential growth. The only exponential growth is when you're pushing, trying to talk to more people that have never heard of you.
Make new connections.
Yes, and making those connections and bringing them into your sphere. That's when you see exponential growth year over year. And then when you get it up to the size of income that you want, then you can relax on your sphere of influence and your past clients and referrals, and you should maintain that level of income. So that's literally what I did. But I took it to the extreme. Like I kept pushing until I got to $1 million.
Right.
2017 was the first year I hit $1 million. And then, since then I've just been resting on that huge database that I built, past clients and referrals of referrals. So that database is 19,000 people. The only thing I do for my business right now, for my real estate business, is a weekly email.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't use social media in my real estate business. I don't make cold calls, direct mail, postcards, open houses, networking events, Zillow, Facebook, nothing, right? Nothing.
Wow.
Just a weekly email.
So there's no paid lead sources at all?
Not at all. Zero.
It's amazing.
I never did really any paid lead sources except for finding property owners' phone numbers.
Right. Red X.
So there's 19,000 people that get this email that I've been sending out every Wednesday since 2007. Right. And it's literally the secret to everything I do. Yeah. It's the foundation. It allows me to continue selling 100 properties a year, do the $1 million a year, and have time to go build other businesses, and spend more time with my family. I mean, 5 o'clock, I'm done.
That's awesome.
Between 5 and 6, somewhere in there, most of the time right at 5, I'm done. I'm shutting down. I don't want to think about work. I want to relax, spend time with the family, that kind of thing. But during the day, the hours that I used to spend prospecting all day, now I spend building other businesses while I'm kind of just maintaining my real estate business and continuing to knock down those 100 deals a year and that $1 million. But I got 19,000 people in that database getting that weekly email, 5,000 open it up every week. This is a concentrated group of people who either own property in my area or have one time talked about possibly owning property in the area. It's not just, a bunch of emails I bought somewhere and plugged in there. This is a concentrated, if I wanted to go buy emails, I could have hundreds of thousands of emails. Right. This is a very concentrated, high quality, database of property owners in the area or people that thought about buying at one point, that are keeping up with the market. I mean, if you got 19,000 people in a database, 5,000 are opening that thing up every week. That's a strong, it doesn't
really
get
good
any
numbers.
better. If you have 5,000 engaged people who are opening your email, seeing your name every week, reading what you have every week, right? That's an incredible thing just to even think about that happening.
Definitely. What would you say to an agent who's asking for advice? Let's say, to get to where you got to, it took a while to build up that database of those emails, and, maybe they have 1,000 people in their email database. How would you give them advice to lead generate every day?
Well, first you have to think about, okay, what is a lead, right? To me, a lot of people look at leads, Zillow leads and Facebook leads and, all these different paid lead sources, right? Or, open house leads or, expireds and for sale by owners. And you look at all these lead sources and all this stuff. And, for me, I look at all that and I think, okay, what is a lead? And to me, a lead is a human being in the market, right? And who's the most efficient lead? The most efficient lead is the lead that makes you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. So who are those leads? They're property owners that already own the exact type of property you want to sell. Right. They already know the process of buying and selling. They already know, insurance, taxes, maintenance, utility. They already know everything. You don't have to educate them on any of that stuff. Closing costs, how to get loans. They already know it all. They've already done it.
Right.
You can skip all the education and go straight to, okay, this is what I want. Let's go get it. Let's write the contract. Let's negotiate. Let's close the deal.
Right.
And so there's so much easier. You make more money in the least amount of time, and you get to target the exact property owners you want. So a lead to me is just a human being in the market. Now, to take it a step further, when I think of all the things you can do to generate leads, right? And let's just say a bad word real quick, cold calling. And so you think about cold calling.
Not a bad word.
You think about cold calling, and you think about all the people that won't do it, right?
Yeah.
The people that won't do it. Okay, now what are those people doing to build their business, right? What are a few things that people that don't cold call, what are a few things that they do to build their business?
Open houses, postcards.
Okay.
Paying for leads.
Okay. All that, everything you just told me right there, okay? Let's say they pay for a lead, all right? On Zillow?
Sure.
Okay, Zillow. They pay for a lead on Zillow. The lead comes into their email or something. Now what do?
They have to cold call it.
Call them right then. And then what happens?
They have no experience talking on the phone.
Well, that, but also the lead that you call, they don't know who you are. They don't know what you want. They're not really interested in necessarily buying or selling anything right now.
They don't have a preference really of who they're going to work with.
Right. They're just, it's literally a cold call.
Right.
It's literally a cold call. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They're not ready to do anything. It's literally a call. So we're right back to cold call. So what do? We spend $150 not to cold call, to turn right around and cold call somebody, right? When we could have called, and this is a random person on our market that doesn't want to do anything. When we could have spent 2 cents and called a targeted property owner that owns the exact $600,000, $1 million, $200,000 property we want to sell.
Right.
Right? And so when I think about buying leads, those are the kind of things I think about. When I think about open houses, you're doing an open house. You don't have to make cold calls. Open house isn't bad if you're using it for the right thing, which is, to me, an open house is just an excuse to talk to the other owners in the neighborhood to see if to invite them or to see.
Yeah, I love open houses. That's how I started.
Yeah, I mean, to me, open house is just an excuse to talk to the other owners in the subdivision and see how they're doing and see, try to make a connection. But most people aren't doing that because that's what they're trying to get away from. They're trying to get away from talking to strangers and stuff.
Yeah.
And the one reason they're scared of cold calling and talking to strangers is because they're in this mindset that when they do that, they're bothering them, that they're automatically not, they're assuming that they're not interested. They're assuming that, they don't want to hear from them. They're assuming that, that they're going to think that the person calling is just there to try to sell them something.
Right.
If you stand behind your intentions that you're there to help them and you're just calling to say, listen, something sold. Is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
You shouldn't care you're not trying to say, you didn't even ask them if they want to buy or sell anything.
That's what I think is great about your script.
So why would you care what somebody thinks? If they come at you and say, oh, well, I'm not selling, or I'm not this, and why are you calling me and all this? I'm like, look, I don't know what side of the bed you woke up on this morning, but look, man, I didn't call to see if you want to sell your house.
Yeah.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but I'm just calling to see if there's something I could do to help you and give you this market information.
Right. Just offering them value, basically.
Right.
Very non-confrontational, no
Exactly.
pressure.
And that's what most people are trying to run away from, the confrontation, and they don't realize there's a way that you can do it and communicate without the confrontational, 1980s methods that everybody else is trying to teach you. Yeah. But I mean, to take it a step further, leads, open houses, Facebook, Zillow, all the type of leads, everything that you do, social media, networking events, postcards. I mean, postcards and letters. I mean, give me a break, man. You're sending out a card hoping somebody will call you back, right?
Right.
What happens when they call you back? You're on the phone with them. Here we go again. And they're like, well, that's a warm lead. They called you and this and that. Well, that's fine. And that's all fine and dandy. But to me, whenever you're talking to property owners, most of the time you hear them say, if you're out in public or another agent or something, you'll hear them say something like, I got a friend of a friend in the business, or I know somebody, or I got a friend in the business, right? A friend. And you think about that statement and you say to yourself, well, the object here seems to be who's friends with the most property owners, because they're going to do business with who they feel like is their friend. So if you break it down to, okay, now the object of real estate, the entire game broken down is who can become who can become friends with the most property owners in the area. Not trying to sell, not trying to list anything, just who has the best skills.
Connections.
Yeah. Who has the best skills to talk to people and become friends with them.
Yeah.
And kind of create that rapport and that trust really quickly. That's the whole ball game wrapped up into one. So to finish the answer to the question, as far as new agents with 1,000 people in their database, what do you do? Nothing except for one thing. Call property owners who own the exact property you want to sell and become friends with them.
Yeah.
Right? And it's unlimited. You can't call all of them. So why would we do anything if that's the most? See, and anyone listening to the podcast, I would love for them to reach out to me on Instagram and tell me something better than what I'm saying. Like, I want to know a strategy in real estate that's better than calling property owners for 2 cents a piece and making as many friends as you can and building a database full of people that get a weekly email from you forever, right? And scratch everything else. Please tell me something better than that. I'm dying for somebody in the world. I've asked tens of thousands of people to please tell me something better than that. And I'll start doing that. Yeah. I'll start teaching that. I'll start preaching that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If there's something there, who knows? But yeah, no, it's very, the way your approach is very personable and down to earth, and you're just looking to make that connection. I think you had said in a video or a podcast, speak to them like they're your mom, like it's your family member, you know? And don't be very pitchy, and don't come across like you're trying to sell something. Yeah. Because that's when you don't really get that connection with that person over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. So I have some agents in my office who I'm going to call out right now live on the podcast who hate cold calling. They just cannot sit there for longer than.
Is this live?
Minutes. No, it's not live.
Okay, I was like,
it's not live.
What's up?
But I have some agents in my office who I work with, and we share office space, and they hate calling. They can't sit there for longer than 30 minutes. They make 20 calls, whatever, and they're done. They're distracted. What would you say to an agent who just struggles with focusing on making the calls every day?
An agent that struggles with making the calls.
Yeah. What's some advice? We're going live on your page?
Yeah, maybe Instagram if it'll
Let's
go
do
live.
It.
1 second. I didn't do it. Y'all are going to edit this, huh?
Yeah. Actually, no, we probably we'll leave it in. Listen, make sure to leave 5-star reviews on Apple Podcast, subscribe on Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube. We're going live on Ricky's Instagram, at Ricky Carruth. Follow him.
All right, so what do you say?
So what's some advice you would give to somebody who has problems focusing?
Move over a little closer.
Trouble focusing when it comes to cold calling consistently.
Okay, somebody that has trouble cold calling consistently?
Yeah.
Okay, so
distracted.
Here's the thing, man. Like, if you, I look at it like this. If you are not making your calls and you're not making them consistently, I want to know, like, why. Like, I want to know why you, like, what's your reason? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you tell me why. I want to hear your reason of why you're not making calls consistently. So your agents back home, what are they telling you, like, why they're not making their calls consistently?
They get discouraged very easily. They'll make 20 calls and then they will just hit a wall and be not into it, or maybe get a really nasty person on the phone and be turned off to it completely for the rest of the day.
I would say maybe find another career. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because if you're here to provide a better life for your family, and you're here to, go big and stuff like everybody's talking about, but you make 20 calls and you quit.
Right.
I don't know that there's anything you can tell that person. You know what I mean? Because I've seen this time and time again. And I'll ask people, okay, what are you so scared of? And they'll literally look at me right in my eyes and tell me, I don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The most frequent answer I get is I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why I won't make the calls. I don't understand, and they're like, I'm like, come on, and they say, oh, well, rejection. Okay. Well, let me ask you something, Mr. Agent. Do you have kids at home? Do you have a wife? Do you have parents? Do you have dogs? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even care about your dogs.
Any responsibility, yeah.
You know, for me, that's the most selfish thing you can do is just quit. Because you're not only quitting on yourself, you're quitting on your family, you're quitting on, you know, your kids, your parents, your dogs, your coworkers, your broker, your everybody.
Right.
Everybody wants to see you succeed, and you're sitting here not making calls. You know what I mean? Like I can't relate with that. So it's hard for me to even fathom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. You know, there's really no excuse when it comes to that because it's more of a persistence thing. You know, you're going to have bad days. You're going to not want to work some days. And that's just a mindset thing overall. I feel like it has nothing to do with cold calling. It has to do with your mindset, which is
the thing is, man, is that you just got to do it and have fun with it.
Yeah. And
so, you know, when you're making your calls and, you know, people are, you know, one call goes great, the next call doesn't go so great, and then you have a weird call, and then you get off, you feel weird, and then you have another call, and it goes great. You know how many deals I've done where I went through a call session, and you know the 30th call was horrible, and I was like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore, you know, whatever. And I was like, no, I'll just make a couple more, and then like 2 or 3 more calls into it, I get a listing or something, or I get like somebody that really wants to, you know, me to follow up with some stuff, or like I get a possible deal.
Yeah.
You know, you're always like 1 or 2 or 3 calls away.
You never know.
From something great happening. You know, here's the thing, man. When you make your calls, I don't care if you suck at making calls, there is a chance that something's going to happen. I've seen it, dude. I've seen people who are horrible at calls that do great because they will just make the calls. Like people that are horrible on the phone do business because they just make the calls, and there's a percentage of people that it's like you know, the fact that everybody has a soulmate, you know, like everybody has somebody,
right?
You know, it's the same thing with this. It's like there's a percentage of people that are going to like you, there's a percentage that are going to not like you, there's a percentage that's going to hate you, there's a percentage that has another agent there, you know, but that little slither of people who love you, that's who you build your business around. Bro, I made 100,000 calls in 15 years. I talked to 10,000 people, and 5,000 of them I had a great conversation with. That's the general numbers when I broke it all down, right?
Good numbers, yeah.
I talked to 10,000, 5,000 I had a great conversation with. I picked up 5,000 emails through that 100,000 call run with no dialing with my finger. And people are complaining in today's world it took me all night to look up 100 numbers, and now you can just click a mouse and get thousands of numbers and then click another button and dial 100 in an hour and a half.
Right.
That whole process used to take me 15 hours.
Yeah.
And now you can do what took me 15 hours in an hour and a half.
Yes, you can't complain.
And people are complaining about this, right? They're complaining about it when they could do everything that took me 15 hours, an hour and a half, and then have your whole day ahead of you. That used to be my whole day.
Yeah.
And now you can do what I did in a day and then have your whole day ahead of you to do all kinds of other stuff.
People just want reasons to complain, sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I say, I can't really relate too much to people who aren't willing to get out there. See, these people that you're calling, they need your help. Like, they want your help.
Right.
They're dying for your help. There's people that need you to call them and help them through the process. Selling a piece of real estate is not easy. You know what I mean? Like for somebody who's not a real estate agent that sells their own property, that is not an easy process. No. That's why they hire a real estate agent. You know, and so there's people out there that need help through the process. They're thinking about buying, they're thinking about selling. They need you. Why do they need you? Right? Why do they need you? Because you are an honest person. You're hardworking. You're dependable. You want the best for them. You know what I mean? There's not too many people out there like you. You know, for all the people listening, like whoever's listening, you know how good of a person you are. You know that you care about people and want the best for people. You know, and you know that you're going to take care of people. You're not going to do people wrong. You're not going to do anything shady. You're not going to do any gray area stuff. Everything's going to be by the book, and you're going to make sure that it goes smooth for them. And they need that. And you're taking that away from them by not reaching out to them to see if they need your help. You're literally letting them down. You're letting yourself down. You're letting your family down. You're letting everybody down by not doing your job to reach out to these people to see what you can do to help them.
Definitely.
And what you need to do is just have fun with it. Call, laugh, have fun, be in a joking mood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When people are mad, laugh it off. Say, oh, watch my videos of me making calls. Like I'm laughing at the people that are that are getting mean to me.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at the people that are, you know
Don't
what I
take it
mean?
personal.
Yeah. I'm laughing either way it goes. You know what I
Don't
mean?
take it personal, no stress, and you're just, you're having a conversation with people. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, how did you come to this approach? This cold calling method, the way you talk to people, the way you communicate, how did you come to that? And in your first year or your first couple years as an agent, did you come right out of the gate with the cold calling methods, or were you trying other things and experimenting?
No, I started out cold calling. I started out direct mail and cold calling.
Okay.
Right? Because there was no social media, there was no Zillow, there was no Facebook, there was no dialers, there was none of that stuff. There was barely email and internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was direct mail, email, which I wasn't doing the weekly email at the time. I didn't start doing that till my second round of getting back into the business and realizing that was something I needed to do.
Yeah.
But it was mostly direct mail and cold calling. And the way that I came up with this entire process and this entire system was literally through trial and error. It didn't all really come full circle and like come together like a puzzle until there towards the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a full picture.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally, it was like, let me fix this.
Yeah.
It was, when I got back in the business, like I knew that it was relationships over transactions, and then from there, I started doing the weekly email. And then from there, I was already, cold calling and doing direct mail, and so like I just kept going hard with that and kept developing these lifelong relationships. And I started to accumulate these relationships of people that just, was like an extended part of my family, like you could tell there was a really deep connection between me and my clients. Yeah. And those relationships, the number of those type of relationships with my clients just accumulated over the years. As my weekly email list of people grew and the closings that I had and how close I was getting with all my clients, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And then, it all kind of came to me there. Once I started selling 100 properties a year, that when I sold 100 properties in 2014, I made $600K. And the next year I was like, I want to do $1 million. And the next year I did this big grand plan to do $1 million. I'm going to make this many calls, get this many listings, do this. I had an equation. I was like, I'm going to spend this much time. If I do these things, then this is going to happen. Well, the plan I put together, you couldn't do all that in a 24-hour period of time, and the time that you have, it was like way too much. I couldn't make that many calls. I couldn't do that much stuff. And so I became kind of, frustrated. I wasn't depressed. I was more like frustrated, deeply frustrated, like what is wrong with me? Why can't I make $1 million? So I hired a coach and for like 4 months. And what I realized was that, I'm doing all the right things. This guy kind of helped me realize that, no, he didn't even do it on purpose. It was subconsciously because this guy was going through the same old, regular coaching thing, expireds and all this and regular old scripts. And, and what I realized is that what I was doing was way better than what he was teaching. And I realized that, okay, there's not a big secret to this. And that was the year I learned patience. And so it took me 2 more years to get to the $1 million. But long story short, once I got through that phase, where, I started selling the 100 and then got past the frustration of not making as much money as I wanted to make. Once I got past that and I understood all 4 parts of success, it's believe, work hard, adapt, and be patient. And see, I had all the first 3, but I was missing the patience part. See, to succeed, you have to have all 4 of those, right? If somebody's not successful or as successful as they want to be, I can have a 5-minute conversation with you and I can tell you which of these 4 things that you're missing.
Right.
You either don't believe, like really, really believe. You're either not working hard. Maybe you believe, but you're not working hard. Or maybe you're not adapting, right? Maybe you believe and you're working hard, but you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're not learning from your mistakes. You're not adapting. You're not tweaking. Or maybe you work hard and you're adapting well, but you just want it too fast.
No
When you do
patience.
something big, it takes a long time. No,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
care how you slice it up. You'll never do anything overnight that's big.
No such thing as an overnight success.
Ever. I've never seen it. I mean, so I had to learn that last little part because I was doing the first three things really well.
Yeah.
But the last part was something that I had to learn. That was the last little lesson I had to learn that brought it all together. And after I experienced that for a year or so and coming to this place where there's a gray area between being really happy and satisfied and lazy and being super motivated and hungry and unhappy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that are super successful, hungry, and motivated, they keep moving their goals out further and further. They get closer to it, and they keep pushing it down. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I hit the 600, and I was like, oh, the million, and then I kept pushing it out, and it made me frustrated and unhappy.
Yeah.
So I found that there's a gray area between being like satisfied and content,
Yeah.
and also motivated and hungry for more. There's this gray area in between those two where you can be hungry and motivated but still happy with where you are.
Yeah.
And that's where you really need to be, because that's when you start enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Because most people don't enjoy the process. They want to be further than where they are all the time. And that's a real dangerous place to be because you're just unhappy and you're not enjoying anything.
Right.
It's like, why are we even doing this? You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when I found that gray area, that's when it all came together for me. And that's when I started to visualize how I could actually share a system with agents, based on calling property owners, doing a weekly email, being, the hardest working agent, understanding all my philosophies and stuff.
Yeah.
That's when it all came full circle for me, when I realized there was that gray area, because that's what I was missing the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's awesome. It's amazing how much content you provide and how much free coaching you do. I mean, you preach it all the time, don't pay for a coach, go with my free coaching program. How do you time manage with, what do you have, 30 pending deals?
Well, I had 30. I actually closed, 2 weeks ago I had 30 pending deals, and I closed 3 that week, but then I put like 2 or 3 under contract, and then I closed 5 the next week. So right now, and we closed like 2 or 3 or 4 today. I don't even know how many we closed, but I was down.
Amazing.
Last week I was down to 24 pendings, and then so like now probably after today I'm probably at but then we put one under contract, so I'm
just back and forth, keeps going.
Yeah. But I was just looking at my board, and literally like the latest closing we have is September 21st.
Okay.
Except for the one we put under contract today. So literally I'm closing all those deals like in the next 2 weeks. That last one on the 21st is like that. Most of them are closing like mid-September.
Yeah.
And our board is going to be literally wiped out. I mean, I'm sure I'll sell some more, in the next 2 weeks. But it's actually like when the pandemic happened, we had 5 pending, like I've got down to 5 pending only like in the past 6 years. I've only got down to 5 pending maybe like 3 times.
Okay.
Whenever I get down to 5 pending, I'm like, whoa, like holy, I'm like, we've got to do something. We got to get, I start freaking out. So the pandemic happened, and I had like 5 pending, and I was like, oh, we need to get some more under contract and stuff. And now I'm like, golly, we got too much under contract. You know what I'm saying? So
how do you time manage all of that plus the coaching program?
Well, man, I think there's a couple of things, right? The first thing is you got to have a really good assistant. You got to have somebody that's like on the back end, really handling all that processing and admin and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is that you have to get in the state of mind where you're not worried. You're not worried about the pending deals. See, people spend a lot of time worrying about stuff that's never going to happen. They're worried like if the inspection is going to go good. They're worried about, they're like too proactive. They're like calling, to check on stuff that it's nowhere even near ready to even check on. Like they're checking on appraisals that aren't even ordered yet, and it's like just let them order it whenever. You know what I mean? Like that's their job. They're the lender. They're the banker. They know how to do their job. Let them do their job. You go do your job and go get more deals. You know what I mean? And so I think agents are way too proactive on the little things around the deal. For me, it's like when I get a listing or a pending deal, that deal's done. Like I got a list of pendings and listings. Like today, today's Monday. I went through my list of pending deals and listings, current listings, and I went down the list and I looked at all of them and I thought about who I need to contact and check on stuff, make sure everything's good. It took me like 30 minutes total to go through. I have 20 something pending deals and about that many active listings.
That's awesome.
And that's about as low as I've got on listings in a while too. And it's because inventory's so low, listings are selling so fast. I mean, as soon as we list something, it's sold.
Yeah.
So the market's moving really fast. I have a lot of buyers that would buy stuff.
There's nothing.
But there's nothing there.
I was going to ask you that because that's the same how it is in Jersey. I was going to see, and I think it definitely was due to COVID. A lot of it. I don't know how the market is here and how different it is, but what I saw happening was in March and February when COVID started really striking, a lot of people pulled their property off the market, but all these buyers were still looking. And that's when the properties start coming back on the market. They were flying off because all these buyers were pent up for the last 5 months waiting to buy a house. Yeah. Is that the same situation over here, basically?
Pretty much. We're on the beach, so the beaches were shut down. Nobody was at the beach, for April or March, half of April and March.
Yeah.
So May 1st, they opened the beaches again.
Okay.
And so when they opened up the beaches, it was like it exploded.
Yeah.
Our May was like the craziest thing I ever seen.
Yeah.
And it tapered off June and July, but then August exploded again. Okay. You know what I mean? Hence me having 30 properties under contract, mid-August.
Yeah.
No, dude, this is the best market I've ever seen.
Right.
I've been through the 2003 and 4 boom. I was here during the rebound of 2012, when the market came back after it bottomed out in 2010 and 11. That was a really good market, the rebound, because things were so cheap.
Yeah.
And so people realized that, okay, it's rebounding, it's time to get back in. And so buyers came out the woodworks and prices went up a lot that year.
Yeah.
The first year that it rebounded, that was a really good market. But this is the healthiest, this is the strongest, this is the most solid market that I've seen so far. And the reason is because the biggest reason that I see is because of how strict lending is. Lending is so strict. You have to go through so much stuff to get a loan compared to what it was back in 03 and 04. Right. Interest rates are so low, so it's making people want to do stuff.
Yeah.
And the people that are buying properties are end users. They're people that are buying the house to live in. They're people that are buying condos on the beach to use and rent when they're not here. They're not buying them to flip. See, in 2004, 3 and 4, people were buying things at these crazy high prices. And their whole game plan was to resell it for $50,000 more next month. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were borrowing money. They weren't documenting their income. So banks were just giving them money without even checking to see if they could afford it.
It's insane.
And then their buddy appraiser was going to appraise it for this really high price. The banker would just tell his buddy what to appraise it for to get the loan done.
Yeah.
And then, that can only go so far. That was literally a bubble. This is not a bubble. Now, something could happen in the market, something could happen. You
never know.
Markets can crash and stuff, but man, it is very solid. It's like healthy, from all fronts: supply, demand, interest rates, lending regulations, end users, the whole 9 yards. The investors that are buying, they're buying to rent. You know what I mean? They're not buying to flip.
Yeah.
I don't hardly see any flippers. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yeah, not many investors. I'm seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of stuff like that, like you're saying. So it's a very similar market, even though I'm so far away.
It's the same in the whole country, man.
Yeah.
It's the same in the whole country. Interest rates are the same in the whole country. Lending restrictions are the same in the whole country. Supply is the same essentially in the whole country. Demand is the same.
Yeah.
There are some pockets like people are trying to get out of California. They're trying to get out of
New York.
They're trying to get out of Chicago. They're trying to get out of some of these places that have become less desirable.
Yeah.
Through this. But that's only making these other markets even more busy and higher demand, because where are those people going to go? They're going to go to these other markets, like where I am, where you are,
Yeah.
You know, they're going to go there. So no, this is, I'll say this for people that have only been in real estate, you know, since 2010 or 11 or whatever, you know, they got in after that, after the last crash. This is our like boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Take advantage of it.
And you really have to take full advantage, go all in, you know, don't miss a single drop and save all your money.
Definitely.
You know, make smart investments, but keep a lot of cash on hand. I got tons of cash right now. That's why I went and bought a Tesla, because I just have a lot of cash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm buying a lot of stuff too. Like I bought a bunch of stocks today.
Yeah.
I'm buying stocks every month, and I'm buying real estate every month. I'm buying real estate to hold, just to rent.
Yeah.
You know, I bought this building. I'm buying stuff left and right, you know, but I'm also hoarding a lot of cash because, you know, I want to have the upside if the market continues to surge, and I want to be ready to take advantage if a downside happens. So I'm in a win-win situation. You know, if you have assets right now and you're positioned well with your assets and you have a lot of cash on hand, yeah, I mean,
you're setting yourself up.
Yeah, you can't lose right now.
No, that's awesome. So you're heavily involved in investing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a lot of flipping or more so rental properties that you own?
All the above. I've got properties that I buy and fix up and flip. You know, haven't got my hands on a lot of those lately. But I've probably done 30 of those over the past maybe over the past 2 to 3 years. I've probably done 30.
That's great. That's a big number. Wow.
Yeah, 30. I've got 2 partners on that. We have a company, and we buy, fix up, flip.
Awesome.
And then one of those partners, we also buy and hold, you know, rental and commercial and all kinds of properties.
Yeah.
Condos on the beach, you know, single family homes, duplexes, commercial buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I have a lot just on my own that I've just bought just, you know, by myself. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something I want to get into. I mean, me and him have been talking about purchasing a multifamily home and living in half of it, renting out the other half for our first investment property.
You should.
Things like that.
You should. You definitely should. You know, and then as time goes on, you can, you know, go buy a house, move out of that side, rent it. Now you're renting both of them, and you got this other house.
Exactly.
You know,
keep
and then
doing
you just keep building your portfolio.
Yeah.
You know, one property at a time. But yeah, I mean, man, look, the name of the game is how many people we can help. The more people you help, the more money you make, right? The more time you waste on people, the more money you make. And then you take that money and you buy assets. You know, you buy properties, you buy stocks, you know, you just buy. But, you know, when I lost everything in the crash, I learned how to invest, you know, because when I lost everything, I knew what not to do.
Right.
You know, what I did wrong is I over leveraged, which was really not my fault when I look back on it. It was the bank's fault. They were giving me the money without me even having to document what I was making. I mean, they didn't even know that I could afford what I was getting a loan for.
Right.
So in today's world, I don't even think you could do that, really, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, and in today's environment, you're not really buying things at retail prices to flip anyway. Everything's basically at a retail price. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, even the stuff that needs a lot of work, you can't buy it, fix it up, and then turn around and have equity in it right now.
Everything is selling above asking
price. Even stuff that needs a lot of work is still selling close to retail value.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no room for anything, you know? So,
yeah.
You know, for my flips, I buy on the courthouse steps, right?
Sheriff's sale.
So yeah. I mean, I'm right there. I'm right there buying them cash at the courthouse steps. I've already scouted out the properties. I already know what it's worth. I know what my game plan is with that property. I know how much I got to put into it. I know what it's worth. I know what I want to buy it for, and I get it or I don't. And so that's how I do my flips. That's my short-term flip game. You know, and then my long-term buy and hold and rent game, I'll just buy anything pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you just show me something with some numbers behind it.
Definitely.
As long as it'll cash flow, I'm interested because I mean, I'm just sticking my money, you know, all over the place. But
I think that's an interesting, you know, the side of a realtor who also invests, has rental properties, flips. I think that's an interesting take and something that a lot of agents don't talk about enough. And, I think a lot of younger people need to get involved in investing.
I'll tell you one thing I really want to do is I want to put together like a capital fund, like Grant has. And I really want to get into that game of creating the situation where other people can invest with me, and buying these big properties all around the country.
Right.
That's kind of what I've already started making steps towards that.
That's awesome.
Something I really want to get into. So that's coming soon. Just got to keep putting the pieces of the puzzle in place and
awesome.
See
that's
how
really
far
cool.
I can take it.
Nice. Well, we were talking about stocks a little bit earlier, so I have a lighthearted question for you. Do you have any stock picks for a new investor in the stock market? Anything you're eyeing?
Well, there's a lot of them, really, to be honest with you. I'm watching the stock market right here as we speak. I've got Exxon. Exxon's on the screen. It just depends on where you are in your stock career in terms of buying stocks. If you're brand new in stocks, you just put money in. If I would have known, like I started buying stocks like maybe 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I was so oblivious to the stock market that I didn't even realize there was a crash in 2008. You know what I mean? Like that's how far I didn't even know anything about stocks or anything. So 4 years ago when I started investing in stocks, there's a friend of mine, he has about $15 million in the stock market, and he's the one that kind of pushed me to start my own account, my Fidelity account, and start putting money in stocks and stuff. And, when you're starting out, man, it was funny because like I put money in, and then like things started coming down a little bit, and I took it all out. When I should have left it in and bought more.
I think that's what a lot of people do when they start because you don't get it.
Yeah, you don't realize like you can't lose your money. You can if like if a company goes completely out of business.
Yeah.
But Apple's not going out of business. Google's not going out of business.
Right.
Facebook isn't going out of business. These
patience
companies.
Game.
What's that?
It's a patience game again.
Yeah, but if you get back to the patience game, but also the not worrying game, and you understand, hey, if you understand how the game of stocks work, it's really hard to lose, to be honest with you, because stocks go up more than they go down. Right. They go up and down, up and down, up and down, but they go up more than they go down over the long term.
Yeah, especially if you're smart with the ones you're picking. Right.
Look at Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett. The Oracle of Omaha. That guy, he look at his stock picks and the money that he put in and like how long he kept these different companies and stuff. And you just realize, it's just really easy. It's easy money, bro. It's you literally click a few buttons and make money. It's a lot easier than roofing houses, working on oil rigs, selling real estate.
Yeah.
And so as you're going through your real estate career, if you can dabble, right, just dabble in the stock market and really try to learn it and to watch all the companies, to see how it all happens, the ebbs and flows, how everything correlates to what's going on with the rest of the world, with political and everything else, and how it all ties in together. Yeah. And you start to realize the big picture of it. Then as you're going through your real estate career, at some point, you're going to retire at some point. You want to have
hopefully.
You want to develop a skill.
Yeah.
And like, okay, day trading for me, not a good idea, right? That's literally like going to the casino and just put it all on black.
That's how I feel.
You hope I win.
I have a friend who does it. Shout out Tom Clancy. And he was doing it during COVID, and he was making money, and I was like, I can never do that. I feel way too risky about it.
I know guys that do it. They short all day long. They short. They go in and they bet that it's going to go down for the day. You know what I mean? Like they trade shorts.
Yeah.
And I know a guy who does pretty well. I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know where he's at right now or anything. And he's like, those long-term investors, they're looking for 20% a year. He's like, I'm looking for 20% a day, and I'm thinking, but the risk reward,
right.
If you can stick something somewhere and not worry about it, You know where you're going to be over the long haul, even if things get a little rocky.
Yeah.
If you get to where you understand the name of the game behind the stock market, then you can get to a place later on in life where when you want to slow down a little bit, you kind of got a little thing worked out where you have this little career set up for yourself as kind of a stock manager, portfolio manager.
It's like a retirement fund right there.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, do you have a stock, whatever you call it, a broker, that's handling your stuff?
Right.
Like, no, I do it. And they're like, well, would you do brain surgery on yourself kind of deal? And one of those things, don't you want a professional handling that? And for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, if I gave all my money to a stockbroker, sure, maybe they would do better than I'm doing myself. I'm an amateur, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Like right now this year so far, like I'm up 450 G's on
awesome.
The stock market right now this year.
Amazing.
Even with COVID and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I've learned like
you're figuring it out.
None of that was luck.
Yeah.
Like all that was complete skill.
Yeah.
And I even missed out. I should have went in with a few things that I held back on. I could have been way up, even way more than I am right now.
Yeah.
But there again, I learned those lessons from missing those opportunities. Where next time I'm going to see that same little opportunity, I'm going to say, okay, here it's go time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
that's definitely a mentality of mine throughout my life. Is just I feel like I produce the best and I work the best and the hardest when I'm throwing myself into the fire and just making myself figure it out. Just brainstorming.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the best education is through experience. You got to have You got to have podcasts and video and seminars and books and all that stuff. You got to learn stuff from other people, watching other people, asking questions, all that stuff. But all that only takes you so far.
Right.
You got to have the experience behind it too. That's why people can't just come into real estate. And even though they watch all my videos and all these other guys' videos and all this stuff, they can't just come in there and just start, boom, just all of a sudden sell 100 properties. I've only seen one person do that ever. It takes a lot of, like learning from your mistakes and stuff, to get where you want to be.
Absolutely. All right, so for one final takeaway, I just want you to speak to all the agents out there who are struggling to get the ball rolling on their real estate career, whether it's, making connections or just being unmotivated. What is, your takeaway for them?
Well, I mean, it's tough because, everybody has a different situation. Everybody has a different problem. Everybody has different reasons why they're not succeeding. They have different excuses. They have different, everybody has different things going on. So it's hard to say, okay, this is my advice to all the agents out there not succeeding. But if I had to make just a general statement, to agents out there that are trying to get started, the main thing to me is go back and listen to this whole podcast and all the stuff I said from the very beginning. Everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis is just set up. The whole objective to everything that you're trying to do is just trying to get to a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And so why don't you just quit doing all this stuff to try to get to the conversation and just go straight to the conversation?
Straight to the source.
Yeah, like if you want to exponentially grow your business, right, and that's what you really, really want to do, here's something for you. All the people out there that pay for leads and do all this stuff to try to get leads and everything, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get property owners' phone numbers, and I want you to pretend like in your head that was a paid lead,
right,
or that was a Facebook lead, or that was a open house lead, or that was somebody called you off of a postcard that you missed their call. Now you got to call them back. I want you to pretend like these are leads, because the thing is these guys over here, these property owners that you're getting for 2 cents a piece, are the most valuable leads out there.
Yeah.
They're the most valuable, hands down. And I'll say it again. Please, somebody hit me up, email, Instagram, wherever, and tell me something better than calling property owners that own the exact property you want to sell for 2 cents a piece and making friends with them.
Directly to the source.
And doing a weekly email forever with everyone that you talk to, connect with, you get their email. Give me something better, right? So check this out. For the people that are struggling and stuff, right? if you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to have 5 great conversations with property owners in my area I never talked to before, right? I'm just going to work all day till I have 5 great conversations, right? That's 25 a week, 100 in a month, Monday through Friday, 100 in a month, okay? 1,200 in a year, 24 in 2 years, 36 in 3 years. You're one of the top real estate agents in the area at that point. If you've went through 3 years and had 3,600 great conversations with property owners in your area, it doesn't seem like much. You're like, oh, I'm grinding, and this is a lot of hard work, and I talked to 5 people today. Whoop-de-doo. Nobody wanted to do anything. That's the kind of stuff you're running up against. Is I talked to 5 people. Yeah, we had great conversations, but nobody wanted to do anything. Okay, did you get their email? Yeah, I got their email address. I'm going to put them on weekly email and stuff, but nobody wanted to do anything, right? But if you did that every day, Monday through Friday for 3 years, you would literally be out of nowhere. Nobody would ever see it coming. They'd be like, where'd this agent come from?
Yeah.
You would be the top agent in your market, one of the top agents in your market. And if you take it a step further like I did and just keep going, like I got to 19,000. I went till I had 19,000. I had 5,000 really good conversations with those 100,000 people.
Right.
And then and listen, when you get to 5 or 10,000 on your weekly email, it'll organically grow from there, because from the 5,000 it turned into 19,000, because the referrals that those people send you, and see, when you have a lot of listings online, you'll get online leads.
Yeah.
People will call you, they'll see your listing online, they'll call you, or one of these Zillow or Realtor.com, they'll send you a little free lead here or there, teasing you, trying to get you. And they'll be real leads. Yeah. And so over the years, through the referrals of referrals, all the leads that come in from just having so many listings and stuff, that's how I got from the 5,000 to the 19,000. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you get to a 5 to 10,000 on your weekly email database of people that you talk to, that you connected with, you're at a point there where it's going to organically blow up, over that next 3 to 5 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of where it was for me. When I hit 5,000 or so on my weekly email, I hadn't made any cold calls since. I've maintained my income every year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I would say to the people that are struggling and just kind of having a hard time with everything, I would look at them dead in their eyes and say, are you making calls? And they're going to say, no, I'm not. And I'm going to say, well, what are you doing? I'm working on my website. I'm doing some social media ads. I'm working on my business cards. I'm sending postcards out. I'm setting up an open house, and I'm doing all these things that aren't working. See, the thing is, everything works. You know what I mean? But do you want exponential growth? Yeah. Or you just want things to just work? You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to go above and beyond and understand the reason for all that stuff is to create conversations. Why don't I just blow past everybody? Blow past all my competition and just have as many conversations as I can with as many property owners as I possibly can, because that's where the gold is. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's great advice. I mean, I think even just you setting 5 conversations a day, that goal helps people visualize that they can do it, because it doesn't sound like that much when you think about it, but then over the years, 3,600, your database is going to be huge, and that's really, really valuable stuff. Ricky, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. It was definitely worth the trip. Wish it wasn't in the middle of a hurricane right now. Yeah. We came down from Pensacola down the shore.
It was raining.
And the shore it's beautiful, all the condos and stuff. It's so nice, but it's raining obviously, but definitely worth the trip. I really appreciate you having me out here. We got the whole crew here. It's been a great episode. Shout out to my channel where they can follow you and tell them about your coaching program.
Okay. In this, bam. No, I'm good. Okay, so where do you find me? Just Google me, Ricky Carruth. But ZeroToDiamond.com is the best place. That's where the coaching program is. 90-day action plan. Finish that. Email me. We'll hop on a call. Talk about how it went, the good, the bad. I want to know more about your goals. I'll give you a few tips and hopefully push you in the right direction. Yeah. That's all free. Okay, that's at ZeroToDiamond.com, and I answer every message on Instagram at Ricky Carruth.
He does. That's how I got here. Completely free coaching. Make sure to follow him on Instagram and everywhere else. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us as well, Real Talk Cast on Instagram or my personal Instagram, mgrecorealty. And if you're watching on Apple, please leave a 5-star review. I'll see you guys next time.